You are now listening to the Just Corrections podcast with your host, William Young.
Can we just get this show on the road?
A few years ago, folks, I read an article that pissed me off. It struck a nerve, and honestly, it took me years of reading, of studying, and personal reflection to understand why. The article centered around the idea that corrections work could be an overwhelmingly stressful job, quote unquote, if you let it get to you. And while the article was full of great insights, it was that phrase, if you let it get to you, that really hit me hard. To me, it sounded as if the author was suggesting that those of us who struggle in corrections simply let it happen. It felt like they were implying that we knowingly allow ourselves to suffer in this field, that we somehow chose to follow a path of burnout, depression, or worse. And back then, this line of thinking, it infuriated me because it seemed to place blame on the individuals who, as far as I saw it, were simply overwhelmed by the challenges of the correctional profession. Greetings, my fearless frontliners, my fellow guardians of the galleries. I'm William Young, and this is the Just Corrections podcast. If you're new here, welcome. If you're a current, aspired, retiring, or soon-to-be retired correctional professional, and you're looking for a channel for content that's informative, engaging, intended to elevate and educate the profession, well, you're going to be in the right place. If you're looking for something other than what I just described, then you might want to keep on keeping on. And before I dive into this, I want to thank the members of the Just Corrections Patreon community. I got to pay some bills here. Thank you for supporting the channel. Without you, I couldn't create this content, this wonderful, this premium correctional content that you are consuming. I appreciate you all. I love you all. And if you're watching, if you're listening and you want to contribute to support the channel, I'll throw a link in the description below. Or if you'd rather just click the thanks underneath me, buy a super thanks, you can do that. And that will also help us support the mission. Look, at the time, that phrase, if you let it get to you, made me feel like burnout and other common corrections issues like broken relationships, substance abuse struggles, chronic stress were just symptoms of, quote unquote, letting the job take over our life. This perspective seemed to imply that we were fully aware of what was happening and willingly, chose to go down the road of unprocessed trauma, emotional imbalance, and for some of us, addiction. But looking back now, I realize that the author's point, and he's a great guy, a good friend of mine, wasn't one of judgment. It wasn't one of judgment at all. It was a recognition of the fundamental truth in life and in this profession, right? That we have the power of choice. And in that choice lies control. I'm far from the only one who's seen how corrections can negatively impact staff. It's no secret that working in a high-stress, high-stakes, low-trust environment like corrections brings with it some serious risks to physical, mental, emotional health. And over the years, I've personally seen the toll that the job can take. I've written 3 books on the impact of correctional work on our personal lives, our personal wellness, and I've had the privilege of speaking across the country on this topic. Others are joining in the conversation too, and that's making a difference. And while there's still a long ways to go, it's encouraging to see agencies are beginning to wake up to the fact that this work changes people. Not every agency has caught on, but more are listening now than ever before. Awareness is growing and resources are increasing, but there's a reality that we need to face as correctional professionals. And here it is. Our wellness is ultimately up to us. Folks, the cold, hard, true, jagged little pill is that we are responsible for our own well-being. No matter what tools or resources are offered by your agency, they won't change a thing unless you decide to prioritize your own health and happiness. No amount of external support can replace the internal decision to care for yourself, right? A facility can provide a fitness center, offer incentives, set up a wellness program, and sure, you can have discounts for gym memberships, mental health resources, but if you don't make the choice to prioritize your well-being, those resources will go unused. Your health will remain stagnant. Choosing to be well, choosing wellness in corrections, it means taking an honest look at yourself and making an intentional decision to invest in your own happiness and health. And this isn't something that just happens, right? It's something that you have to work at. It involves accepting, number one, that you're responsible for how your life unfolds. True happiness and fulfillment don't come from outside sources. They're cultivated. They're created from within. We all have to find our own meaning, right? Our own purpose in life. And in this line of work, it's so important, or we risk losing ourselves. In realizing that the author's words in the article that I mentioned earlier held a deeper truth, I also came to understand the connection between power, right, and responsibility. See, in this profession, we sometimes feel that we're at the mercy of our own environment, but when you acknowledge that you have a choice, you're also acknowledging that you have the power to direct your life. And this power comes with the responsibility to take care of yourself. It's a responsibility to recognize your value, your worth, your influence over your influence. Look, we're all accountable for our own choices. Nobody can make you happy or fulfilled if you're not willing to take the steps yourself. It's not about what resources are given to you. It's about what you choose to do with them. You have to want to prioritize yourself. And if you're not committed to making healthier decisions, the best facilities in the world, the best directors in the world, the best wardens in the world, the best spouses in the world won't make a difference. You have power over your own mind, not outside events. There's a quote here from Marcus Aurelius I want to share with you. It says, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength," meaning happiness is something that starts within, and it's up to each one of us to cultivate it. It doesn't mean that challenges disappear or that hardships of corrections, the work will suddenly evaporate. Right? It means that by taking ownership of your own wellness, of our own wellness, we put ourselves in a position to manage these challenges better. And when you begin to believe that you are responsible for your happiness, things start to change, right? It's like a shift in perspective. Things feel different when you're in control. Think about those days that you go to work when you can't be mandated to stay an extra shift. Don't you feel a little bit better? Don't you feel a little lighter? That's what I'm talking about. When you are in control, things feel different. The key is to recognizing the choice in every situation. You have the power to let things impact you or not. You can set boundaries, seek support, and prioritize yourself and your mental health. As Viktor Frankl wrote in A Man's Search for Meaning, and if you haven't checked that book out, you need to check that book out. When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. And in corrections, we don't often get to change the situations around us, the things that surround us. The work is what the work is, but we can change how we approach it and how we let it impact us. If you're struggling with something, whether it's stress, isolation, an unhealthy habit, it's your responsibility to seek help, to utilize the resources that are available to you. Look into peer support, connect with a counselor, talk to a trusted friend or family member. If you find that your physical health is taking a hit, then make it a commitment to move more, to eat better, and prioritize rest. Guys, these changes might feel small, but they add up over time, and they can be absolutely life-changing. Look, there's always challenges. There's always going to be challenges, especially in this line of work. And some days are going to feel harder than others, but the perspective shift that comes with taking control of your own well-being, it's transformative. Even in the midst of the most difficult days, right? Even in the chaos, we can choose our responses and find meaning. Folks, the journey towards wellness isn't one of perfection or instant solutions. It's about making a choice to prioritize yourself every day, regardless of what's going on around you. And I know that change isn't easy. This isn't a suck it up, David Goggins-esque call to push through at all costs, right? Real change is difficult, gradual, and it's deeply personal. This is more like the advice that Uncle Ben gave Peter Parker, right? With great power comes great responsibility, and you have tremendous power over your own life. And with that power comes the responsibility to invest in your own well-being. You're in charge of your mental, physical, emotional health. Embrace that responsibility. Find meaning in your life. Look for the silver lining in the tough times, and then prioritize yourself. Folks, you have the power to make that choice. So choose well, my friends. All right, guys, thank you for hanging out with me today, for listening, for watching to this episode of the podcast. New episodes are available daily, 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. Set a reminder on your phone. Set an alarm on your phone. Click the little calendar invite so you can never, ever, I don't want you to ever get FOMO, fear of missing out the next episode. There's just great stuff, incredible stuff coming at you, and I just don't want you to live your life without this information. So subscribe to the show, follow the show on YouTube or wherever you're checking this out. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Leave a comment, folks. Get involved, engage, share the show with your friends, family, fellow correctional professionals. Everybody had a guy reach out, comment on one of the videos and says, "I wish correctional officers, more people knew about your content." And I said, well, just share the show then. If you want to let people know, then let people know. It's simple as that. And I appreciate it. I appreciate it if you guys would do that. Get people, the more people we have talking about it, the more people we have sharing this message of personal responsibility, of prioritizing wellness, then what we do is we plant seeds. And it's easier for multiple people to plant the seeds than just to have one guy screaming at a microphone alone in the middle of the country. So let people know, the Just Corrections podcast. And if you're interested, folks, if you're interested in supporting me in other ways, supporting the show, supporting the message, the movement, consider becoming a member of the Just Corrections Patreon community. There are a couple of different tiers. $5 a month will help tremendously. There's also a level at $20 a month. $20 a month, I send you an autographed book, a copy of The Nothing That Never Happened. So check that out. I'll put a link to all of that in the description. And then don't forget to check out the books. If you haven't got the books yet, shame on you. I Pity the Fool Who Hasn't Picked Up the Books, Train to Change, The Nothing That Never Happened, and When Home Becomes a Housing Unit. They're all in the description. Check them out, share them, pass them around your agencies. I had a buddy of mine reach out to me from Pennsylvania the other day. I was texting him back and forth, and he was telling me about an officer that had gotten his hands on a book. Somebody he had been given the books, read the books, and said, "Holy crap, tremendous impact. My life is now different." And that's what I like to hear. Brought a tear to my eyes, guys. That's why I do what I do. I want people to know. I want to show you what you're up against, and I want to show you that you have control over how this thing gets to you, and there is a better way to go about how we've been living our lives. So check out the books, share the message, share the videos. Any opportunity that you have to make somebody's day a little bit brighter, a little bit better, please take that opportunity. And if you'd like to bring me out to do that, to speak or present at one of your events or your facilities, send me an email, justcorrections.booking@gmail.com. All right, folks, that's all I got. Until next time, be smart, stay safe, stay sane, and we'll talk soon.